Hi, I'm Miku Martineau, and you are watching the Permanent Rain Press. Yay!
Hi everyone, it's Chloe with the Permanent Rain Press. Today I am so happy to be joined by Miku Martineau. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks for asking. And I'm just so happy that we were finally able to
I
sit down and do this
know.
interview. I'm so ecstatic to chat with you about your role as Yumeko in Bet. But to start off, can you share a couple of key people or places that really helped cultivate and grow your skill set as an artist?
Of course. I think honestly, it is just every time that I work on a project. I got this really good advice a long time ago. I can't remember who gave me it, but they said with every actor that you work with, you just see what they do, and if you really like something, steal it and put it in like your little box of tools as an actor. And that's really what I do. So I'm really lucky that I get to work with such talented people because they always do things that really impress me and help me learn and grow and become a better actor, especially with Bet. All of my castmates were phenomenal and we had so much fun, and they had such um, different levels of places that they would go with their character that would really help me bring Yumeko to life, you know?
What's really cool about that is that you're getting like such firsthand experience. But I do know, I mean, you have a really rich background. You did show choir, you went to kind of like a performing arts school as well, and film production. I know
Yeah.
that you spent some time studying, so are you still in school for film production?
Okay, I'm not still in school. I dropped out, but it was because at the moment I really felt like this was my time to put everything that I can into acting in my auditions. So that's why I decided to take a break from school. But yeah, I did study film production for about a year, and it was fantastic. I think I love all aspects of filmmaking and being a part of the film industry. Um, Not just being an actor and being on screen. I love what goes on behind screen. I think every role in creating a production is just so important. Pre-production, production, and post-production. There's so many different roles that goes into it. Um, that's why one of my favorite movies is actually Babylon. I feel like you get to see how crazy being a part of a film set is. Um, but I absolutely love it. I would love to direct in the future. So I am definitely gonna get more into that. Sometimes I write here and there, but I love film production. It's movie magic.
And hopefully you do get the chance, and you did also get the chance to like shadow like on the set of Bet. And you know what came out of your time in film production school was Project Miku, which I have to say was fantastic.
Oh
I
my
mean, I
gosh.
loved how your Japanese heritage like played a role in the narrative.
Yes.
But you also had like the AI realm, and it's really cool to see the behind the scenes, and I love the framing of it. So hopefully you get
Thank
the chance to
you.
do more of that in the future with your own work. And you got your mother to be a part
Yes.
of it. So that must have been so special for you to kind of like bring her into your world and that project.
It was. She didn't really have a choice. I was like, you have to be in my short film for school. No, it was so much fun to work with my mom, and I love doing things that involve my Asian culture. I'm so proud to be Japanese. Even though I grew up in Canada, my mother immigrated from Japan when she was around 30 and had her family here. And yeah, I was in a predominantly Caucasian neighborhood, but my household had a lot of Asian culture. I grew up with a lot of Asian culture. Um, and it really means a lot to me now that I can bring that into my roles because diversity in this industry is just very important. Like we create art so that we can all connect and be seen and create a community, and making space for that means a lot to me.
In terms of that representation, like what does that heritage mean to you? Are there any specific artists who you kind of looked up to for inspiration? I think I know one that you might say who you got to kind of
Michelle.
work on a project with. So like how did she kind of inspire you like as a trailblazer in the industry?
Of course. Well, Michelle Yeoh is just, and she said it in her speech. She is a beacon of hope and opportunity for people like me. And it's really inspiring because I truly believe without people like her, I wouldn't have the opportunity to audition for leading roles. And it's just amazing to see a powerful woman thrive like that. I mean, wow. Um, and, to be quite honest, like growing up, I didn't actually watch that much movies and like TV, even though everyone's so shocked when I say that, or if I haven't seen a movie that they love or something like that. I was just always outside growing up. But if I try and think back to my childhood, I don't really ever remember watching a TV show when I was a kid or a movie where the the lead actor was Asian. So it really means a lot to me that today I can look on the screen and I can see a lead actor who is Asian and relate to them in certain ways of um, that I think I wish I had when I was a child. Because I think, growing up Asian in a predominantly Caucasian neighborhood, you definitely do feel different. And now I am so proud of that difference. And I love it and I cherish it. And I'm so grateful that I am Japanese.
I love that for you, and I think you're inspiring like a whole new generation now of young girls also like looking up and seeing you and Bet and knowing that they can do that and there's a path in the industry for them. So we'll get into the show now where we of course are
Okay.
discussing spoilers, so a warning for all those
Oh,
watching.
yeah.
But you have talked in past interviews about finding the right voice, energy, and physicality for Yumeko. So, can you expand on what you experimented with in conjunction with the source material and how you knew when you found your Yumeko through these characteristics?
Right. I think I was discovering Yumeko every day, even while I was filming. I I felt like I wanted to bring that manga energy to life, but I also had to balance it with creating her as a real human being. She's a real life teenage girl. And it's going to be different um, from the original source material that is already so amazing. But I read the entire manga, and you can get a sense of obviously her personality and everything, but you can't hear her voice while reading. So I did also watch the anime to hear her voice, and obviously the way that actors speak in anime is very, very specific. And I wanted to keep that similar energy, but also create her to be my own in a sense. And I kind of landed on a very like soft and light and cute kind of voice that I thought would be, I don't know, charming or magnetic in a sense, because I just wanted her to be like that, but also powerful in those moments where she has her signature laugh or giggle that's more kind of anime. But it's fun. I think every character that I play, I really like for them to have a distinct set of like whether it's physicality or their voice, you know, I like making them different in that sense. And Yumiko was so much fun because she is so specific with the way that she talks and the way that she moves. It was really fun to play her because I really was stepping into a character that I do feel is very different from me.
I mean, it all goes into identity. So it's really important
Right.
for you to kind of, pinpoint those elements to her and how you can kind of evolve and grow that throughout like the episodes in a season. And I love the praying mantis you kind of described as well in
Right.
terms of her movement and the motion because she's very calculated in what she does,
Yes.
especially early on. How did her parents' supposed deaths shape her present day personality and mindset, as well as her mission to avenge them?
Of course. Well, I just first have to say you really did your research. I love how you said praying mantis because it is true. I love to relate an animal to a character. But anyways, um yeah, her parents' death is a huge part of Yumeko's story. And even reading in the manga, you only discover that way later on in the volumes. And I remember reading the manga, and sometimes when a person acts extra, let's say, I don't know, crazy or out there or wild, you kind of always wonder, why they are that way. And I was kind of wondering that while reading. Um, and I believe that people are the way they are because of their experiences in life. I think their environment really shapes them into who they are. And for Yumiko, this was a really big event and tragedy that shaped who she is and kind of I think throughout the story you see different parts of how her grief in a way controls her quality of life. Because when her parents were brutally murdered, she immediately has only ever had revenge on her mind almost. And that's almost her purpose in life. And I don't know if she feels if it will give her peace or a sense of justice if she does do it, but it really does control her life. And, I think that's what makes Yumiko so willing to take chances, and she's not afraid of taking risks. That's because to her, even if the outcome is good or bad, let's say, it will never be as bad as what happened to her. That is why she's not fearful of any outcome because she's already experienced the worst thing possible ever in life, in her opinion. That's what makes her so wild.
I love how you said that and about like the end goal and how she gets there, what happens after. Like she's not fully thinking about all of that. And I think that that trauma, like you mentioned, such a traumatic event, it kind of led to this lack of maybe emotional attachment and connection with
Yeah.
others that we see when
Mhm.
she arrives at St. Dom's.
Mhm.
Now, to viewers and other characters, some of her actions can be seen as being romantic or flirtatious. So, in your opinion, like, is she aware of this and does she use it to her advantage?
I wanted to make Yumiko's character so that people would question, is she flirting with them right now or is she not? Is she about to kiss them or is she not? I think that is just Yumiko. I don't think it's a thing that she's thinking of in the moment. I think she's just living in the moment as herself. Um, she's not really caring about other people's opinion and she's just purely uh gravitational in that sense, I think. I think the only point in the show that she uses flirting or whatever to her advantage is probably when she's playing strip poker with Chad because she has a goal and she knows how to get that and Chad's an easy target.
It was very in your face. It was there was no hiding that one. But I
Exactly.
love that you come back to this word magnetic because I feel like you are so perfect in this role in that sense, and you can kind of like see it radiate through the screen. In episode 4, Yumiko agrees to have sex with Ryan after Mary kind of asks her for a favor. Why did she agree to help? But at the same time, why did she look so hurt and emotional when he reluctantly turned her down?
Right. I think as you mentioned before, Yumiko was because of her trauma, she probably had a very isolating childhood. I don't think she had the opportunity to develop that many connections or relationships, especially with people around her age. And going into this world, complex world of St. Dominic's, where all the students usually come from, a place where, maybe they come from family trauma or they have that tough exterior. They also have that passion for gambling and they have a fierce edge that really allows Yumeko to be drawn to them, and she's really drawn to Mary from the beginning. And obviously, their friendship probably didn't start off in the right place in Mary's eyes because Yumeko gets her kicked off of student council. But I think for the first time, Yumeko is also experiencing what friendship is like. And in this moment in episode 4, again, revenge is on her mind. That is her goal. And she's planning to kill Ray. And so, in this moment where she sees Mary, though Mary doesn't know that, Yumiko knows that this is probably the last time I'm ever going to see you because I don't know what will happen after I do this. So, even though I don't say any of that in the scene, that is what my thought process was for Yumiko. It was, this could have been a great friendship. I really like who you are. I think, you're fierce, you're amazing, you're powerful. And I will do this last thing for you because I care about you and I wish you the best. And I gave her a hug at the end of the scene. And that wasn't in the script, but I just felt like it was needed. And it was just an in the moment feeling where, where you're just like, I wish you the best. And that led into the emotional scene with me and Ryan. Um, and when he gives that speech that sort of rejects me, or however you would like to say it, it's a moment where, Yumiko already has a sense of who Ryan is, but again, it's still early on in the episodes. And when he says his speech, she really sees him for who he is, which is a kind, gentle, sensitive soul. And it's emotional because, again, this is her being like, you know, I, I could have this path of friendship and whatever these emotions are, but um, I have to do what I have to do. And she feels like she has no choice. And it's hard to say goodbye to something like that.
I love how you described it. And, she has so many of these, aside from like the high energy moments, these softer
Yeah.
moments with characters, a lot of them being with Ryan as well.
Yeah.
Speaking to more of the edge, like when Yumiko arrives at St. Dom's, she preaches fairness and gameplay, the need and want to play for fun. But as time goes on, she starts getting more desperate and dangerous in her pursuit of Ray and student council. So, how was it for you personally to venture into the side of her that slowly becomes more irrational and insecure?
Right. Well, it was a crazy journey to channel all of those emotions, really. Um, I mean, I think the reason Yumiko comes into the story with such a stance on fairness and how she hates cheating is because she feels like she was cheated in life with the loss of her parents. Um, And what's so fun about playing her character and sometimes so freeing in a sense is she really does have no boundaries. She does things impulsively because you just never know what's going to happen with her, or what decisions she will make because she will make it to get to her end goal. And it's fun to play scenes in those moments. And I was really lucky to work with a bunch of directors and a showrunner like Simon who would really let me have the freedom to play it out and see how far we could take it. And I think that's uh, a really fun part about acting.
Always fun to get to grow with a character and
Yes.
meet these new sides, especially as also the scripts come out and you have the
Yeah.
discussions. How was the game of nerve to film opposite Eve as Mary? Like, what was the energy like in that room?
That was a crazy scene. Also, we had not discussed how we wanted to play the scene. I knew this was a very important scene because this was also an original game that came from the manga. And we knew we definitely wanted to bring that manga energy into this scene, but we also, I don't think we had set pre-expectations of what we would do. And Eve is so amazing and talented and really gave me the space to really go for it. And I think we were both just absolutely locked in and really into the scene. And it was really interesting to see everybody else's reactions to it in real time. I mean, they were because the background actors didn't know what we were feeling, and they kind of just like see it for the first time or hear it for the first time when we do it. And I remember thinking, I'm not sure how they're gonna edit this, but I just because we were so it was we were acting crazy while also having like tears in our eyes sometimes and acting like complete maniacs. It was honestly so much fun. And I just remember feeling like I don't know, I was just the energy was insane. It was so intense.
And you can see it too with all the scissor cuts as well. And like there's
Yeah.
just that anticipation building. And it was such a good scene. Speaking of good scenes, the emotional one between you and Ayo towards the end of episode 8. So can you tell me about that moment from Yumiko's perspective, including the kiss on the cheek she gives
Mhm.
him? Because just like within the past few episodes, she projected a lot of negative emotions on him and labeled him as a distraction. And I mean, that was so hard to watch as well. But then you have that moment with
Mhm.
everything I wasn't looking for playing, and it kind of it's that moment seemed like a goodbye as well.
I think especially, going to what you said about the seeing him as a distraction, I think that's another example of how you can see her quest for revenge kind of controlling her sense of life and her quality of life. But this scene is really emotional because, like in episode 4, where she thought she was saying goodbye to him, she feels the same way now because she's going um, obviously to that meeting, and she knows what she's going to do there, and she probably won't ever see Ryan again. But this time it's extra emotional because we are further into the series and their relationship has developed. And whether it is romantic or platonic, it's up for interpretation. What I can say for certain, it is genuine and it is filled with love. And so that whole interaction was it was just really beautiful, and Io did such a great job of bringing those emotions to life, and it was very beautiful to watch and be a part of. And yeah, the kiss on the cheek, it just symbolized how much that I do care about Ryan, um, and how I wish him the best, and I have to do this, unfortunately, but I gotta get revenge.
And I mean, maybe lucky for her, he does end up going to the retreat to
I
follow
know.
and be the backup. But speaking of kisses, take me through Yumiko's decision to draw Kira into the fold and that poisonous, kind of aggressive kiss. Like, how was that to film in character and as an intimate scene?
Yes, everybody wants to know about this. Yes. It was crazy. It was intense. Me and Clara didn't really discuss much about it was very, also filming a TV show is quite fast-paced sometimes. You don't get all the takes in the world. Also, with our lipstick and kissing, it transfers and then, you have to redo it if you're going to restart the scene. So that takes a long time. So we had a very few tries to get this right, but um we really just allowed each other to fully immerse in the scene. And it was so intense because this was Kira's I got you moment. I see what you're doing. And also, Yumeko in this moment decides to do something super crazy and impulsive, which was kiss her and poison her. And Kira's not expecting that. And it's just this after each scene, me and Clara were both like shaking because of how intense it was. We were in this like dark hallway. We were having this intense moment where, she's asking me to drink the poison and I'm, and then I just poison her, and it's become this iconic moment in the show, which I love. Um, and I love that scene. I think it's so intense.
I spoke with Clara and she mentioned that she felt so safe with you and you two were able to
Um,
get lost in your characters like you mentioned without a lot of verbal communication in between takes. So I
yeah.
love how it came off because it was a surprise to viewers as well. But can you just briefly take me through Yumeko's plans later on with the blackjack game and the antidote? Like, would she have actually let herself or Kira die at the table, or would dropping out of St. Dom's at Mr. Timurov's suggestion have been enough?
Oh my gosh, of course. First of all, I just do want to say I love Clara. She's the best. She made me feel so safe too, so comfortable. She's just such a talented actor, and I was so lucky to have that scene with her. Anyways, going to your question, Yumiko is so unpredictable and she decides those things in the moment, so I fear that I cannot answer that. I think that is up for interpretation, but because it's complicated, you have that side of Yumiko where there are no boundaries and she's willing to go to whatever lengths. But then there's been this almost switch with her relationship with Kira that may have stopped her from doing something like that, but you never know. You never know.
I think that's like the tagline with her. You just never know what's
Yeah.
gonna happen next. Going
Yeah.
into season two, like what do you think excites and concerns Yumiko about this new partnership with Kira and having a ride or die ally in Ryan?
Right. I think Yumiko is very excited about this allyship. I think it's the first time too that she feels such a strong sense of allyship with somebody. And, Kira is just a very, very powerful and captivating character. And when two powerful women have an allyship, it is crazy and amazing, and I am obsessed with it. So I think Yumiko is just absolutely excited, fearful. I'm not sure. I don't think she's thinking that way exactly. I'm honestly so curious to see how everything goes in season two. I mean, the relationships are going to be so much more complicated now with her and Michael. What's going to happen with her and Ryan? With Mary? I don't know what Riri will do next season. Oh my gosh. Um, and I'm so excited to see what happens with Yumiko and Kira. And yeah, oh my gosh. I'm just so thrilled for season two.
I hope we get to see more of your athletic background as well because I know you got to do like that kind of handstand cartwheel, but
Yes.
I mean, sky's the limit for putting her training to test for good
Yes.
use. What messages and comments have you received now that's been out for 2 months, and what has that support meant to you, including the ships and seeing what everyone has to say about those?
First of all, oh my goodness, the people who love Bet are hilarious, number one. I see all of their funny edits and all of their funny comments and everything, and they make me laugh. And we send them in our group chats, and everything, and you guys are hilarious. And I also see a lot of very heartfelt and sweet and super, super kind messages. And it's really beautiful to see. I mean, we put our show out there for interpretation, and it's up to the audience how they feel about it. And the positivity that we've received is absolutely heartwarming and so special. I've received messages about how much they love Yumiko and the other characters and what it means to them and how they've related to the show or how it made them feel. And that is what art is about, to connect to it, to build a community, to see how fans of Bet are interacting with each other too is so cute and so special. And it means the world to me. It really does. And I'm so excited that we get to continue the journey with them for season two.
Well, I know everyone can't wait to see it. Very last question. If you could be any ice cream flavor, which would you be and why?
I would be matcha because I drink it every day. I love it. I love the color. And maybe in the future, I don't know, maybe I'll have my own matcha farm in Japan or something. I don't know. We'll see.
I wholeheartedly agree with that flavor. Perfect way to end things off. Thank you so much, Miku, for taking
Thank
the
you
time to
so
chat. I
much.
really appreciate it.
Of course, of course. Thank you guys.
For all
Mwah.
those watching, catch Miku and Bet. Season 1 is out on Netflix and season 2 is coming, so stay tuned and we will see you next time.